Have to ask the church. Maybe we can do some outside sitting when we do our longer sits.
Yeah, that would be nice.
That would be nice.
Do we have to ask just for the afternoon?
No, I don't think so. I think we're fine. So today and Thursday are the last days we're going to study and practice the Genjo Koan. And then we are going to spend a few weeks with Taiga and Dan Layton's Faces of Compassion. Classic Bodhisattva archetypes and their modern expressions. So I thought it would be fun to do some of the iconography of Buddhism. So we'll bring forward the images of, we'll start with Shakyamuni Buddha, and then Manjushri, and Samantabhadra, and Avalokiteshvara, and Jizo, and Maitreya Buddha, and Vimalakirti. So it will be a chance to, when you go to the museums, or when you see a Tonka, or when you see some of the images with swords and lotuses and elephants and tigers, and you'll get to know them more intimately. So what I'm going to do is, because some of you, I've just been doing a verse on Tuesday and a verse on Thursday and not necessarily backing up or reviewing, because each one does have its own integrity and flows in and out of each other. But this particular verse 9 and verse 10, which we're going to do focus on today, verse 10 really does flow out of verse 9, which we did on Thursday. And the language is very, very beautiful. So I'm going to start with, as if you just sit, your breath and awareness. I'm going to read or chant or recite verse 9, and you can just receive it, and I'll do a little commentary on it, and then we'll flow into verse 10 in a little more detail. A fish swims in the ocean, and no matter how far it swims, there is no end to the water. A bird flies in the sky, and no matter how far it flies, there is no end to the air. However, the fish and the bird have never left their elements. When their activity is large, their field is large. When their need is small, their field is small. Thus, each of them totally covers its full range, and each of them totally experiences its realm. If the bird leaves the air, it will die at once. If the fish leaves the water, it will die at once. Know that water is life, and air is life. The bird is life, and the fish is life. Life must be the bird, and life must be the fish. You can go further. There is practice, enlightenment, which encompasses limited and unlimited life. Commentary. We each swim like a fish swims, fly like a bird flies, in the Dharma position of our own life, in the conditions of our life. This is our practice to fully embody and give ourselves to just this life. We cannot be separated from this life, and life cannot be separated from us. In the same way that we can't be separated from practice, and practice can't be separated from us because there is no practice without us. There is no us without practice, without life, because life only comes to life through the particulars of each moment, through the particulars of your living. So there is no spiritual practice that is outside of your activity. We can't leave it. We are it, and it is us. This is it. Close. Intimate. Verse 10. Now, if a bird or a fish tries to reach the end of its element before moving in it, this bird or this fish will not find its way or its place. You can't reach the end of this practice. There is no boundary of, aha, got it. Whoop, hit a wall. It's just practice. There is no beginning. There is no end. It is just alive. When you think you're reaching the boundary, instead of swimming or flying like you are, as you are lost. That's okay. This is it too. But more and more you know that you can't swim or fly in this human life practice, enlightenment existence. The only way to swim or fly is in your own element, right where you are. Dogen then says, when you find your place where you are, practice occurs, actualizing the fundamental point. So practice, a word we use a lot, is finding your place where you are in any given moment and in any given situation. Finding your place, feeling your feet on the ground, breathing in and breathing out, the play of the light, sound of the water, in-breath and out-breath, practice occurs. This is the realization of Genjo Koan. To find your unique place in this moment and in your element. It's very particular. And it's very vast. Dogen says for the place, the way is neither large nor small, neither yours nor others. The place, the way, has not carried over from the past and is not merely arising now. You can't know the measure of it. We can't see the end of it. We just occupy our life fully. To bring life to our life, whatever it is. And we can't know the full measure of that. And the mystery and the miracle is that when Genjo Koan, the fundamental point is actualized, the whole world is illumined. The full moon is in each dewdrop, is in each breath, is in each moment. Accordingly, in the practice enlightenment of the Buddha way, meeting one thing is mastering it. And doing one practice is practicing accordingly in the practice enlightenment of the Buddha way. Meeting one thing is mastering it. Doing one practice is practicing completely. Just one thing. When you sit in Zazen, everything is here. When you walk, Kinhin, everything is here. We just give ourselves to any moment of activity and our living, and everything is here. Here is the place. Here the way unfolds. The boundary of realization is not distinct. You cannot define or delineate realization as if it's a separate thing. Aha, got it. Oh, that moment, that was a good moment. Whoa, that was a bad moment. Just be present. It comes forth simultaneously with the master of the Buddha, the mastery of the Buddha Dharma. It's not something over there. It's just this. Just this. Just this. When you fully swim, when you fully give yourself to your life with courage and complete confidence, this is realization with and for all beings. You can't define that. It's so various and so different for each and every one of us. Dogen says, do not suppose that what you realize becomes your knowledge or becomes the object of your knowledge and is grasped by your consciousness. Although actualized immediately, the inconceivable may not be apparent. You may not know it. In fact, if you do know it, you probably already missed it because its appearance is beyond your knowledge. So our practice then becomes a faith practice. You can only know it by living it. Just enter and enter and enter and give yourself over and over and over, a word that Dogen uses a lot. You could practice with this week. Want another word? Sure. Inconceivable. Inconceivable. Realization, waking up, living, birth, death, no birth, death is inconceivable because it can't be an object of our consciousness. But it shines through everything. And its appearance is always beyond our grasping and our knowledge. And that's why this is a practice of faith. Don't know. Don't know is most intimate. It's a feeling of being alive. It's a feeling of namu keibutsu, just plunging in. It's a practice of yes, I will. You have no idea what the yes or the will or the I is. It's a practice of just bow. And through our practice, we become more and more intimate and close with love and with all beings and with what it is to be alive. So here's a little commentary by Okamura. Maybe to clarify, maybe to confuse more. Okamura Sensei says, on a commentary, the necessity of finding our own place and path. When I chose one thing and actually did it, I found the path to proceed. Genjo Koan is not a philosophical idea, but it's actual practice using your body and mind that's connected with the entire world. For him, he found Uchiyama Roshi. He saw someone who was practicing, he decided to practice, and he just gave his life to it. And he didn't need to know anything else. The path of Zazen. He said, the path of Zazen practice has led me to a wondrous and unbelievable way of life. The path is so broad, flexible, and endless. And since then, I have been walking the path for 30 years, and I am still a beginner in this path. The path has no beginning and no end, but it permeates all time and space. And yet it is only this moment, right now and right here. Then he says, it's one thing at a time. I found my place as a Zazen practitioner and committed to it. And at each moment, each day, and through each stage of my life, I have tried to see the many people, things, and situations I have encountered as my own life and practice. Whatever I encounter, I try to do my best with sincere attitude. There you go. That's it. It's that simple. Whatever I encounter, I try to do my best with sincere attitude. When we work on one thing, we study it, do some experiments with it, take care of it, and penetrate it one by one each time. This is how we study the characteristics of all things, one thing at a time. When we practice that role sincerely, we penetrate that thing. When we make a mistake, we penetrate that mistake and learn from the mistake. Then a mistake is a great teacher to us. Nothing is meaningless when we have our own place and path to walk. Actually, this place and path is not something outside of us. This place and path is nothing other than ourselves. The way is endless. Even though we walk on the earth, we cannot measure how far we have come and how much further we have to go to reach the goal. As Buddhist practitioners, we commonly think our goal is very clear: to become a Buddha. Did you know that was your goal, or think that was your goal? And yet, to become a Buddha is not the end of the story, but rather it is simply the starting point of life as a Buddha. A Buddha practices Buddha's practice. That's all that a Buddha is. This is helping all living beings to become Buddhas. The more you simply show up, it helps all beings become Buddhas and to make the entire world into Buddha land. It also takes almost forever. Within such an endless process of the Buddha way, it is nonsense to measure how much we have achieved, which stage we are at now, and what we need to go further. Did you know that in traditional Buddhism, there are, I think, there are 52 stages of the Bodhisattva. I was shocked when I read that. Well, how could there be 52 stages of a Bodhisattva? But you can imagine, if you take any one human being and you put them in monasteries for a long, long time, they are going to systematize everything. And there are very clear stages to being a Bodhisattva. But I would advise that you don't believe them too much. Just simply show up in your life and laugh a little bit and know there's no place to go. And there is definitely something to do. It's just, you don't know exactly what it is. You have to show up to know. That's the great paradox of it. Dogen says simply the Buddha way is endless and there is no way to measure where we are now. No matter how long and how hard we have been practicing within the infinite length of the Buddha way, the distance we have walked is the same as zero. When faced with this truth, what can we do but try to be mindful in each moment and practice one thing wholeheartedly in the way that we can penetrate one thing? Gratitude, love, commitment, fall down, get up, wonder. This is what Dogen means when he says, when Buddhas are truly Buddhas, they don't need to perceive that they are themselves Buddhas. However, they are enlightened Buddhas and they continually actualize Buddha. Our practice is just to practice one thing at a time wholeheartedly and manifest our whole life's moment by moment without evaluation. That is all. So it's so simple. What is it? That's the koan of Genjo Koan. What is it? Our practice is just to practice one thing at a time wholeheartedly and manifest our own life's moment by moment without evaluation. That is all. This is what Shikan, just in Dogen's expression, Shikantaza, just sitting, which is Zazen, means. This is also what he means when he says that practice and realization are one. Inconceivable. 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 Myra is sitting here. That is inconceivable. You are all little boxes sitting in your homes. This is inconceivable. The world and the planet, inconceivable. Breath, inconceivable. Just wait. Just fall down, get up, fall down, and get up. And your heart gets bigger and your mind gets vaster, except when it doesn't. And then you still just keep doing it anyway. Because ultimately, what you find and you know is that there is nothing but practice. And if you can figure out something better to do, go do it. But then figure out what that is. And my guess is it will take you right back here. So I'm going to read you, because I've been committed to reading a little poem from another tradition. This is going back to Joy Harjo, Conflict Resolution for Holy Beings. Speaking Tree begins, I had a beautiful dream. I was dancing with a tree. Some things on this earth are unspeakable. Genealogy of the broken, the shy wind threading leaves after a massacre, or the smell of coffee and no one there. Some humans say trees are not sentient beings, but they do not understand poetry. Nor can they hear the singing of trees when they are fed by wind or water music, or hear their cries of anguish when they are broken or bereft. Now I am a woman longing to be a tree planted in moist, dark earth between sunrise and sunset. I cannot walk through all realms. I carry a yearning I cannot bear alone in the dark. What shall I do with this heartache? The deepest rooted dream of a tree is to walk, even just a little ways, from the place next to the doorway to the edge of the river of life and drink. I have heard trees talking long after the sun has gone down. Imagine what it would be like to dance close together in this land of water and knowledge, to drink deep what is undrinkable. Inconceivable. So here's my suggestion. We're gonna have about 10, 15, maybe 15 minutes. You guys